What's going on, people? How are you? This is the Sports Counterpoints podcast for February the 10th, 2025. I'm GB, got Brian and Coop with me. As always, what's up, my guys?
What's going on?
Right?
Hey man, back at it. This is what, fourth show of the year, something, fifth show of 2025. I think this is season 6, which is pretty crazy. We've been doing this a little while. So today, pretty much NFL all day. We're talking Super Bowl, very much a slumber bowl on that one. And then we'll talk about the NFL awards as they got Snoop posted that, and they got everybody's your MVP, your offensive player of the year, all the stuff we talked about is officially awarded. So let's start the Super Bowl, man. Blowout, 40-22, right? Eagles.
Yeah, I guess I'll start it, man. It's actually good to see KC get it handed to him, but this game kind of reminded me of the Super Bowl when the Seattle Legion of Boom team played Denver Broncos with led by Peyton Manning, and the offensive and defensive line, and to me in this game was just the MVPs of this game. They manhandled both sides. Both
Yeah.
sides of the line just handled KC. The O line gave. I saw in the first quarter, offensive line gave Jalen Hurts protection like all day. It doesn't I don't give a damn what kind of quarterback you are. You got that kind of protection, you're gonna find somebody. I did not know though that this was the largest, I guess, Super Bowl offensive line in history where the average person was 6'6", 338. That's
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. But Jalen, as far as his throwing was better in the last Super Bowl, but in this Super Bowl, he did what he was supposed to do. He stayed on script. His receivers were open. He was hitting them. Good job with offense coordinator for Philly for getting them open and calling plays that for Hurts that, things that he's good at doing, like rolling out passing, the screen plays, and of course his run ability. His run ability was killing KC. When everybody was covered downfield, he was just running for 7-8 yards. I mean, just killing them. And good for Philly that they were still feeding Saquon Barkley as well. Even though Casey did a pretty good job stopping him, they were still feeding the ball to keep Casey honest on defense. And then Philly's defensive line, that front four, man, was just causing havoc all day, man. A couple of times, they pushed the offensive lineman into Mahomes and caused him to throw 2 interceptions. I mean, they were just manhandling them. I never seen Casey this disoriented or disorganized or undisciplined on offense, like probably ever. And that all is because of Philly's defense. They caused false starts. They finally got holding penalties called against them for KC. They had an offensive pass interference or whatever for a pick play or whatever. So this wasn't a normal KC team, and the reason why it wasn't normal is because Philly, they were on them. The defenders with their defense, when you get into the backfield to Mahomes in 2 seconds, your pass coverage doesn't have to be good. I mean, it seems like Mahomes is almost like running for his life every other play. At one point in the third quarter, the pressure rate was 47%. So on 47% of his dropbacks, which is about half,
Crazy.
he was pressured. With 6 minutes and 5 seconds left in the third quarter, the total yards was 253 for Philly to 38 for KC. I mean, they just
Crazy.
put on a clinic. When I text you guys at halftime that it was over, this game is over. The reason why I did that is because I kept hearing all the people on TV. I guess they have to keep people watching. They were saying, "Oh, Casey needs is one score and blah blah blah." They're right back in this game. They just got to take it one play at a time. Blah blah blah. And I was thinking to myself, this is when I made a bet on Philly for the second half +7. And the reason why is because what people always talk about here, fans and media always talk about, all we got to do is this, make this adjustment there, make this adjustment there. Sometimes an adjustment is not going to help. If you still strolling out that offensive line for KC and those players on the defensive line for Philly still the same, you're going to have an issue. It does not matter what adjustments you make. I mean, so not to translate the basketball, but I remember one time Byron Scott was asked when he was coaching the Nets playing the Lakers in the finals, what are you going to do to stop Shaq? He said, we can't stop Shaq. I mean, you can call whatever play you want. You ain't stopping Shaq, and they weren't stopping the Philly defense no matter what they did. Yeah, Casey got some late points at the end, but in third quarter at one point it was 40-6. And, them 2 touchdowns, yeah, they got, but the game was just was
Yeah.
over. But I'll stop there. Brian, what was your outlook on this game?
Well, I thought this game was fairly predictable. I feel that way because I predicted it. So that's kind of how I feel. Look, one of the things that we were talking about last week when we were talking about how each team could win and or lose the game, we were talking first, one of the things we talked about was KC. And I said, one of the things that I'm afraid they're not going to do, but they absolutely need to do is they need to run the ball and they need to use Hunt. Hunt got 3 carries in the game and didn't get a single carry in the first half. Guess what? They got their butt whooped in that period of time, but he still only got 3 carries in the game. They never established a run game in the middle, which always meant that the defense was always in trouble and couldn't get those short passes down. Late in the game, they had to get desperate, got a couple catches, amazing catches by Xavier Worthy. But the reality of it is that they didn't run an offense that could take advantage of a very, very aggressive Philly defense. One of the main reasons that I thought that Philly would be able to win this game is that they had the best running game in the playoffs and the best defense in the league. And I thought that would be too much. And the defense played lights out. I mean, they did not blitz until the fourth quarter. And at that one, it was kind of like a fake blitz. They did not blitz. They were able to get all of that pressure, 2 interceptions, multiple sacks, all with a standard front four. One of the things that I said last week that I was kind of keying in on was that I didn't think that, Saquon needed to get 150 yards for him to be successful in the running game. It was about quantity and not giving up on it. And that's pretty much what happened, right? He had 25 rushes, but Kansas City basically said, we're going to sell out and do everything we can to make sure that Saquon doesn't beat us, which they accomplished. It wasn't Saquon that beat them, unless you look at it from they put so many people in the box and did everything they could to stop Saquon that A.J. Brown and Devonta and all these others, Devonta Smith, all were wide open or had single coverage, and that was the opportunities. And they knew that. They realized that. And they kept going to it. They kept on pounding the ball because they knew that the minute they said, "Oh, this isn't unsuccessful," and they backed off of those runs, those runs, that they would be able to drop off the ball and make a better defensive plays. That's not to say that Spags didn't do the right thing in that situation. Of course, you want to stop their best player. But they just didn't have all the people and the horses that they needed to be able to stop everything that was going on. The whole team ran 45 runs. Jalen Hurts got most of his yards on 2 big scrambles, which is what happens when you're so focused on trying to stop the runs to the middle with Saquon that you don't see what's going on the outside or in the short passing game, and some really, really nice plays by some wide receivers. Fun fact, I think you probably saw this, was kind of floating around. There had never been a score by an Alabama player in a Super Bowl until this one. Devonta Smith broke that streak when he scored his. But it's the first time an Alabama player, multiple national champions, all perennial top team, had a player through Super Bowl score a touchdown.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts looked good and strong, and like you said, Jason, he was just playing smart football and playing with what they gave him, which was plenty because they were so focused on stopping the run. But it was smart football. It was a great game plan. It was executed from beginning to end. There is something to be said about first blood in a Super Bowl because it gets you on the right foot and it puts the other people in the defensive position. So once they got that score, it was just kind of like, all right, here we go. Only one time in history has there been a defensive score for a team that lost. So the minute they got that defensive score, I knew that stat ahead of time. The minute I saw that defensive score, I was kind of like, all right, the odds are very, very likely in Philly's favor to win this. I don't like either of these teams, and Philly fans proved it. I mean, didn't take 2 seconds after that game for them to go rip up their city and start posting nonsense and acting an ass and all that other stuff. So, I wasn't rooting for Philly. As a matter of fact, I don't think I cheered at any one point in time during the football game, other than I kind of booed the ref in that first drive because that was a horrendous call. And everyone started posting on, it's one series and already one bad call that cost Philly the series, but they were able to overcome that, obviously, and win the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought those first 2 calls were the right calls. I mean, that's just me, though. I figure if you snitch a man's head back, I mean, I don't know how you can't call that when his neck is going back. I don't know how you don't call that. But, I mean, if they would have let it go, I wouldn't have thought it was a travesty. But I thought it was the right call. But it's whatever. It didn't bother Philly.
And I was going to say, it didn't amount to anything. It was just that it happened early. It stalled a drive. So people got real amped up pretty quickly. Right. But
I'm happy to be wrong on this one, Brian, because I know we both said at the beginning of the season, no way KC wins 3 straight. Yeah, and then I thought the Stars.
They were marching. They
Yeah.
were marching right
And
down
I thought
to
the
do it.
stars were just aligning. Oh, yeah, they're just going to win this damn Super Bowl. So I'm happy to be wrong on this one. But like you said, Philly fans, I ain't got back to near one of them yet. I ain't even talk trash to them, and they already hitting me up. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's whatever.
really.
Yeah.
But the one look, I don't know what Kansas City's going to do because they got punched in the mouth, and it's obvious that they need to do some things in order to win Super Bowls again because this game plan is too easy to replicate. Have a good defense, run the ball a lot, and shorten it up. It wasn't miraculous. It wasn't like AJ Brown was playing.
Right.
He only had 3 catches for 43 yards. Devonta Smith only 69 yards. It was just the constant pounding that they were doing.
Yeah,
and that's something that.
So, I was thinking, Brian.
Replicate.
Yeah. No, I was thinking, I don't know if this is going to happen, but people seem to forget, even though Brady has 7 Super Bowls, he went a 10-year period where he didn't win nothing after those first couple. And so I'm wondering if we could see something like that with KC, where this could be the start of some years where they don't win anymore and everybody sort of kind of catches up and tries to win Super Bowls, and they probably come back a little bit later down the line and probably, catch up with some Supers. I don't know. I'm just saying, it just got me thinking now that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, look, this year Travis Kelce clearly lost a step.
Oh yeah,
and so they got to figure out is he going to stick around?
He should retire.
Yeah, they got to figure out the run game. I mean, Hunt was better, but Hunt was a guy that found off the scrap heap in the middle of the season, and he led to great productivity for that period of time that he was in there. But you've got to figure out your run game, and then obviously they want to get some weapons over there. I wonder if they'll get into the Cooper Cup game. With him being available, but we'll have to see what they're going to be able to do. I don't think Philly's going back to back. I'll tell you that.
No.
I mean, look,
they got some free agents too on that team. So yeah.
And they hit the perfect stride.
Yeah.
Detroit has a better run game, total run game, not just Saquon, than the Philadelphia Eagles. And when healthy, had a better defense.
Yeah.
But injuries make, it's unlikely Philly got through the season unscathed. Detroit didn't. There's a lot of good teams that can do this game plan.
Yeah.
And so, I don't predict this as a dynasty for Philly. I think they caught lightning in a bottle and it worked out for them.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
it worked out.
Yeah, they've done that a couple of times now.
Twice.
I think the Chiefs. I mean, I know my hate tour. Honestly, the crazy thing was like I was watching this game. I had no hate. I was like, man, this is like. It's like watching, you're playing basketball against your 6-year-old little brother. Like, you can't cheer on that, man. Like, they were just getting whooped the whole time. But it was exactly what you said, Brian. The game plan, same way the Raiders won last year. Everybody was like, yeah, we didn't throw a pass.
Yeah,
it's 60 yards because you ran the ball and the defense was on them. Any good quarterback, if you make them uncomfortable constantly, you're gonna have success. It's always been that case. Like, you can't
remember the
throw
Super
the
Bowl
ball
against Tampa Bay. Remember that? Remember the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay? Same thing. It don't matter who's your quarterback. You get that kind of pressure, it could be a good day.
And when Brady lost Super Bowls or Peyton Manning lost Super Bowls,
the Giants was on Peyton, Giants was on Brady,
That's how you stop a good quarterback, right? You can't throw when you're laying on the ground. So, and they was on him. So it was crazy to watch. I was actually in a bar. Shout out to the SD homies out there, but I was actually in a bar. And so with Eagles fans, Eagle theme. So it was actually more fun to be there because you're getting some cheering going. If you're at a Chiefs bar, just kind of the casual fan, it's not exciting. But if it's your team, you're amped up at 17-0.
Right.
So it was cool enough to see, but I wasn't surprised, man. I know after we played them, the Raiders played them on Black Friday. Obviously I'm hating because we lost, but we were missed a botch call away. And we saw week after week after week.
Yeah, KC should have had a few losses. Yeah.
Every week, right? Where they were like, they wouldn't have had home field advantage. They wouldn't have, so it just was interesting that I just didn't expect it to go like this, where they just got whooped.
The thing for go ahead, Brian.
It happens that way though for teams. I mean, they keep on ducking and dodging and getting through and all that kind of stuff, and eventually the car catches up with them. Like it's just, they were on borrowed time for a loss related to for how they were playing and the personnel they were using. It just so happened that it caught up with them in a really big game on a national spotlight. They probably would have preferred to lose 2-3 during the season. Figured out that they needed to use Hunt and
I always say it.
Short passing game a little bit more. And then
which I thought I thought they were going to do that, Brian. To be honest with you, I really the same thing they did in the first Super Bowl, and they didn't do none of it. So you're right.
I just all season long, ever since Pacheco, who only also got 3 carries, but all season long, when Pacheco was in the game, they got so enamored with his speed that they forgot that you need to have big and speed.
Yeah.
And they've got tons of speed on the outside with wide receivers, and they needed the toughness in the middle, and they just forgot about it. They kept on going to Pacheco. I honestly believe that decision is the bigger reason why they weren't able to be at least competitive in this game.
Yeah, I thought about that too. In the game, I was like, why not giving Hunt the ball? But here's another thing: if there's any quarterbacks out there coming out of college or in the NFL or whatever that consider themselves a dual threat quarterback, they ought to be thanking Jalen Hurts, because he just won a Super Bowl and he's considered a dual threat quarterback. Yeah. So he can make a lot of quarterbacks a lot of money coming up these next few years because of his team winning the Super Bowl. And then also, I was thinking during this game, it's absolutely clear what the 49ers need to do, and that's build their damn offensive lines. If they don't see it, they haven't saw it before, they need to see it now, because there's no way they can't even compete with Philly right now unless they have some type of offensive defensive line.
Philly's roster is crazy, though. Like, yes. we don't talk about their roster is crazy.
Well, that's what I said last week. Their organization, they draft well, they get the right player. Howie Roseman's a damn good GM, but so is Brett Veach for KC. They're damn good GMs, man. So it's no surprise those teams made it.
How do you lose a Hall of Fame left tackle and have more success in the offensive line the following year?
Yeah,
I mean, that is the GM, right? You can't coach having the right people on the team. You can you can coach the people you have on the team, but in order to get that talent, the GM has to do some really amazing things. Get that depth. That's the GM to be able to do what New Yorkers really hate, which is take your rival's best player and superstar and make him the integral part of a championship team.
Make Giants look really bad. There is actually one guy, though, I saw on KC. His name was Treshawn Wharton. He plays next to Chris Jones, defensive line. He's a pretty good player. Found out he's a free agent. That's somebody I would love for the 49ers again, even if they got to overpay him by a couple $1 million, because we got nothing out of Javon Hargrave. So you can give this guy half of that. And he was pretty strong, pretty solid. Number 98 for
going to have some cap space after you guys get rid of Debo, right?
Oh, but Debo's going to be. I said Debo's going to be gone beginning of the season. Him, Javon Hargrave, a couple other people need to go too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should have some cap space. Yeah, definitely to sign some folks, because you can have all the receivers in the world. If you don't have any of the trenches, can't block, can't get after the other person's quarterback, doesn't matter.
That might have been the first thing we said on the first show, bro.
What?
Jokingly, like it wasn't, but that the Niners need an offensive line, bro.
I always say that. You know me.
We say this every year. They draft D-line again, and then they draft D-line again, and then they draft D-line again, and it's great. But
you see that protection Hurts had? I mean, it was fucking. Yeah. It was amazing, man. It's like you gotta. That's what you need. You need that.
Yeah, and in y'all division, these other teams are not. They're not going away. So I don't know if the Seahawks or the Cardinals or Rams are going to be easy outs.
They're
like they have in the past.
Yeah.
So so it's going to be interesting to see what y'all do. But all right, any last thoughts on Sleeper Bowl? Because boring.
I'm good.
I mean, it's cool to see KC get whooped, but
it was. It actually was, man. False starts and all that. I mean, I've never seen them play like that. They had penalties called on them and stuff. It was actually.
Yeah, it all came back.
I'm not hating, but it was actually kind of fun to see it go the other way against them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Would y'all watch halftime?
Of course.
Before we slide, what y'all thought?
It was incredible. So the show at face value was entertaining. If you like Kendrick Lamar's music, you enjoy that. The part that always happens with anything that Kendrick Lamar's part of is all the stuff that comes out after. They're like, oh, the set was really a PlayStation controller, and he lit up the different things. And if you put all of it together, that's how you get unlimited life. It's the code for unlimited life in Grand Theft Auto, which is a direct response. It's just crazy the number of levels that it was operating at. I thought it was clever how he did Not Like Us, but kind of led up to it.
I thought he wasn't going to do it.
He was actually, I was like, I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to do it. And he kept on doing it. And then he did it. I thought the Uncle Sam L. Jackson was brilliant. I think, having Serena Williams, it played so well on so many different levels. I understand that there's some snobby folks who don't like hip hop who were unhappy about that. I don't care. This was an absolutely wonderful halftime show. And if y'all couldn't get it, that's fine. You don't have to get it. I don't get when they play
I
some
was
of the
gonna
crap
say
they play.
exactly, bro. I mean,
So
J Lo's fantastic and Shakira, but I didn't care about that. Usher, I love, great, but I didn't care about
Right.
that. Like
yeah.
everything's not for you, so just watch it and carry on. Like I don't understand why, but anyway.
Yeah, no, and again, the playing on so many levels, like it has been dissected a million times in
Yeah.
24 hours. And I'm not even, sometimes I wonder if Kendrick Lamar's
Agreed.
like, man, I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
He's got so many things going.
Yeah.
It is definitely game over on Drake for a while. You can't come back from that one for a minute.
I thought it was.
Take a breath.
So all I was thinking was, I don't know if you guys saw what 50 Cent was doing with Irv Gotti. So Irv Gotti, Ja Rule, 50 Cent all had beef forever. When Irv Gotti, they reported he had a stroke. 50 Cent reported he posted that the picture of it on Instagram and said, "Oh man, I want him to see my shows. Don't go yet."
Oh, damn.
Then the guy dies,
Yeah.
and he's on there. He's smoking hookah, and it says, "I'm smoking on that Irv pack." Nah, I'm just kidding. God bless him. LOL.
Mm.
As I'm seeing that, I'm thinking Kendrick is that petty.
Oh yeah.
Like the
but
fact that
I'll tell you, he's clever. He's more clever than 50. 50 just does the most.
Yeah,
petty
always
shit.
in your
It's
face.
Right up
Right.
in the open.
Yeah, he's
Right.
Kendrick to do that. I didn't think, because I was just thinking there's no reason. Like you've already won the Grammy, which is crazy. You've already won all, like we all know. Like there's really, it doesn't even tie into the game. You don't need to do that. And how he even set it up, like you said, Brian, he's like, "Oh, I want to do the song you want to hear, but nah, it's not, setting it up."
Yeah.
And then boom.
They like
and
to
then
sue.
yeah, they like to sue. Exactly. And then say Drake looking right at the camera. Like, why was that? It just wasn't necessary beyond
Mhm.
pettiness. And I was kind of here for it. Like, it just wasn't necessary. He has so many
I'm
hits.
kind of here for it.
It was,
Like,
I
I'm here
mean,
for it.
it's crazy. There's no violence involved. It's
Right.
rap. It's old school rap. If Drake wanted to, I'd, like you said, stick to some other kind of something else. Don't try the battle route. But I don't think his career's done. It's rap. It's a competitive. It's a blood sport.
Yeah.
And he went the bloodiest.
I will
Jeez
tell you,
Louise.
the thing that makes this worse for Drake is that he keeps on trying to fight. At a certain point in time, he needs to just take the L.
I don't know.
Him over here trying to sue.
I was gonna say
and
that's
then-
not fighting though. That's like, I get in a fight and I'm like, my dad's a lawyer. Don't hit me again. Like not.
But that comment, right? That my dad's a lawyer and I'm going to sue and all that kind of stuff is the reason why after you get your butt whipped, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later, they're still making fun of you.
Yes.
If you just take the L and you just go and like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
After a while, it goes away. But he's keeping it in the storyline. He's keeping the storyline going.
Bro, it was crazy. Coop, any thoughts?
I'm not gonna lie. I laid down during the Super Bowl halftime. I'm not even gonna lie.
That game
I saw some on social media, and I did plan on watching it today when I was at work, just because it's on YouTube already or whatever. Of course.
Yeah.
I haven't. So
cool.
I will watch it. Most likely it'll be tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's great.
It was interesting.
Everybody talked about it. And like Brian said, everybody had the messages on stuff. Like when all the Black people's blacks were showing or whatever. Yeah, I saw all that.
It was cool. So word up. So that just want to get y'all thoughts on that. So let's slide to the NFL awards, because I know we usually make the predictions on who's going to win what and where they go. Let's run them down and let's talk about it. So let's go backwards and we'll end at MVP, because that's the biggest award. So AP Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jared Verse from the Rams. Well deserved.
Well deserved.
Yeah, no argument here.
That he played so darn well all season long. He absolutely
showed out even more in the playoffs. Like just phenomenal. Like that line was looking vicious. So yeah, shout out to Jared Verse. Your AP Offensive Rookie of the Year, no surprise of any kind, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, should be.
No question.
100%. Little shout out to Brock Bowers just because he's on my squad and he had a hell of a year. But Jaden Daniels should be. He was directly responsible for winning at the most difficult position. So you can't.
Yeah, he was phenomenal this year.
Yeah, took him to the championship game. No one had that on the cards. So shout out there. Your AP Defensive Player of the Year. So kind of surprised me. Patrick Surtain from the Broncos.
Look, Surtain has always been good. High school 5-star #1 cornerback. Went to Alabama, was good. Maybe I think it was the first
like
cornerback drafted in Denver.
Pops was in the league.
Pops played for the Miami Dolphins, was really, really good. So I didn't know he was, I guess, metrically or statistically he was that good. I was just looking up against Jamar Chase. Chase only had 27 yards against him. DK Metcalf only had 29 yards against him. So he was doing his thing. I had no idea those were his stats, Brian or Glenn, but
Yeah.
you know, I don't have no argument against him being
He's
defensive player of the year.
in my division. Gardner Minshew gave him a pick 6 to add to his record for the year. So yeah.
Well, one of the best stats for him this year was that people just basically stopped throwing in his side, which if you remember when they had, we used to have the Jets Jets teams where you couldn't do that. But I wasn't following him super closely, but I heard those stats about how efficient he was. So I wasn't surprised. A lot of times, you know, the player who has the most sacks, the big flashy plays gets it.
The linemen or linebackers. Yep.
Yeah, but it's a lot of that, like number of picks. He didn't have the most picks, right? He was just super, super efficient and shut down, you know, like Revis Island, if for all of us old folks who remember Revis
or even Dion, surrendered 306 yards, the fewest receiving yards at anyone in his position at a minimum 375 coverage snaps. Wow, 306 yards. That's crazy. Yeah. Yep, it's good for him.
And he was playing good talent. It wasn't like he
had
a schedule that
this
was playing a whole bunch of jokers.
This wasn't a damn the Mountain West. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you're playing the AFC West, you're gonna play some teams. And our schedules was ugly. So so you got shout out to Patrick Surtain, the second on that. AP Offensive Player of the Year, no surprise, Saquon Barkley from the Eagles.
Yeah. Probably the greatest season for a running back ever. When you take all of it into account, they obviously didn't play the one game, so he couldn't break the record.
Most rushing yards ever in a season.
Yeah, it would be very, very easy to say that there
including playoffs, Coop.
Oh, including playoffs, correct. That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
You're right.
But it'd be very easy to say that he had every bit of the best offensive player season this season. So congrats to him.
I'm not surprised that he showed out this year, but damn, I mean, he really showed out. I mean, I said when the Giants, I said you made a dumb decision. You kept Daniel Jones and let Barkley go. You keep Barkley, pay him. You let Daniel Jones walk. And the Giants are going to be hearing about this for for a while. That's really dumb move. It's a good for Saquon. Very good for him.
Yeah, it was. Your AP Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Look, it totally makes sense. It's not a good thing when you become a perennial comeback of the year player.
Real talk. I also say that.
But man, was he outstanding. And as somebody who drafted a lot of him because I had some confidence that he'd be able to come back in fantasy leagues, it was just good to see him be able to have that kind of year. And you know, obviously he's super talented. But it's what you don't want to be is a multiple winner of the comeback player of the year.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, even Burrow said so. What you said, Brian. I mean, I think the other person was Chad Pennington. I believe he won it a couple times. But yeah, it's definitely not an award you want to be up for. But we all know Burrow is a good quarterback. The only thing that's holding him back is pretty much the organization that he plays for. How cheap they are, how cheap they are. They won't pay anybody, so the defense sucked this year, and also injuries. That's it. But we all agree, so he's a really good quarterback.
Yeah, one of the few in my mind that really changes the game. Like if you got Burrow on the field, you got a chance to win.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Every time. Your AP Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Brian, you okay with it?
I'm okay with it. You know how I feel about Kevin O'Connell and sometimes with the way he calls an offense. But look, this team was left for dead at the beginning of the season. I mean, Jason over here had him last in the world. But it was good. So it was good to see him do that. He absolutely deserves a lot of credit. The GM also deserves a lot of credit for those moves that he put this team together with a lot of one-year deals. Again, at the beginning of the season, I said, I don't necessarily believe that this team's going to be very good, but they clearly do. And both Kevin O'Connell and the GM did some really amazing things. It's nice to see him get a reward for that.
Yeah, well, I didn't have them last in the world. I just had them last in the division. I said the best last place teams. I would never have them worse than the Giants or somebody like the Carolina.
True.
But Yeah, I mean, look, you go 15 out of 17 wins with Sam Darnold. Sorry, the award's locked up.
Right?
It's locked up. I mean, yeah, there is really no argument. They were projected to win 6.5 games this year and won 15. Doesn't matter what happened in the playoffs. Regular season award. He did a hell of a job in the regular
Yeah.
season, getting that team almost to the number 1 seed. Man, I mean, this is a no brainer. Kevin
Only lost to
O'Connell.
2 teams all season.
Yeah, it's
One
a
of
no
which is
brainer.
Yeah.
which always happens. He couldn't beat his old mentor and McVay, and then the other one was probably the best team in the NFC when healthy, and that's Detroit.
Yeah, definitely no argument there.
I love it. So, and your AP most valuable player, Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills.
So here's the thing. He was the player that I picked to win the MVP at the beginning of the season. And I think this is a bunch of hogwash. This is exactly where my hogwash was going a little bit later. Bunch of hogwash. Statistically, he was not the best player in the MVP. That was Lamar Jackson. And all the comments they want to make about Lamar Jackson, anyone wants to make, you could make all the same ones for Josh Allen. And then when they started asking, they were interviewing people on ESPN and Fox Sports who voted for Josh Allen instead of Lamar Jackson. And it was like, well, yeah, Lamar Jackson had the most stats, more wins, the best season, but but Josh Allen can affect the game in so many different ways. Absolutely true. I believe in Josh Allen. He's the only one that I think can single-handedly win it. But he did not perform at the MVP level this year. He got beat by Lamar Jackson, and I feel some kind of way about it because I feel like it's a higher standard for Lamar Jackson for reasons we can all figure out than it was for Josh Allen.
I wonder if they also just can't give Lamar the MVP every year.
Yeah, you know what? So
You know what I mean?
that's how I feel. I don't think it's anything against Lamar Jackson. They see the same thing in basketball. They can give it to the same guy every year, but they don't. They just pick someone new to prop up that year. Everything Brian said was right as far as statistics. Statistically, Lamar was better across the board, but they keep voting for Lamar, and he keeps winning. And they just don't do that. The voters don't do that. They propped up Josh Allen this year, and he's a good quarterback too. And they decided to give him the award.
Then they should have given it to Saquon.
I mean, they do it every single year in NBA and NFL. Some guy wins once, like Steph Curry. Steph Curry won it unanimously, and then he became the first player on a team to lose the finals down 3-1. They end up, they lose to Cleveland, and he don't get no more votes no more. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, the voters just are fickle like that. It's nothing against Lamar Jackson, skin color or nothing. It's like, oh, let's just pick somebody else because we didn't gave it to Lamar 2 or 3 times already. And Lamar will be back in the running next year and the year after for the MVP award and could win it again. I just think they wanted somebody new to vote for.
I was actually happy because when he wins it, they don't go far.
And that too. Yeah,
and
they
so
remember
I was hoping that it would work, but it didn't matter. They lost anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they remember that.
I disagree. And part of it is I watched numerous of the voters get asked about their voting criteria and why they put him for offensive player of the year and said that he had the best statistical year of a quarterback and then wouldn't vote for an MVP. Like it doesn't make any sense. The logic behind that, I'm sorry, it just seemed coded to me, but I get your point.
The best offensive, the guy with the best statistics doesn't always win. It just doesn't. The NBA doesn't always win. NFL doesn't always win.
But it's usually for a different position. And like I said, I watched a lot of people who were questioning it.
Right.
And the people who were answering the questions, they didn't have good answers.
Yeah, I believe you. MVP award, I've told you guys before.
Yeah.
I don't care because I don't know what the set criteria is. I don't. Yeah, it's a media. Yeah, it's like who they want. For that year. I don't think there's any criteria, Brian. I don't think there's a chart. Does this guy check this, check that? I don't think it's just whoever they want, at that time. That's how I look at it.
Again, at the beginning of the year, we picked who we thought was going to be, and I picked Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I said I didn't think Lamar was going to be able to do it again, and I picked Josh Allen because in my mind, he's the one player who can single-handedly. I just feel like in the end, he got beat. But Josh Allen had an outstanding season. Like I said, this is less a knock on Josh Allen. I'm not saying the dude sucks. I think he's outstanding, great even.
And for sometimes, I'm not to beat a dead horse, but you hear these media people during the middle of the season, week 11, week 12, they kind of talk about how it's this guy's time, whatever. So they pretty much tell you who the MVP is going to be, or at least who they're voting for. or whatever. So
yeah.
it's just like that.
Yeah,
It's no slight
100%.
against Lamar or Josh. Both of them are going to the Hall of Fame. So it's like, he just happened to win MVP this year.
Fair enough.
Good quarterbacks
Couple
right now.
couple others. Pro Hoop, your Walter Payton Man of the Year, Eric Armstead. He used to play for you guys.
Oh yeah,
For the
he's a good
Niners.
dude.
Yeah,
He's a good
same
dude.
one there. And then FedEx Air Player of the Year was Josh Allen and Josh Allen and Jamar Chase. And then George Kittle won the Salute to Service Award also.
Yeah, he's a big
So
Army guy. Yeah.
yeah.
Congrats to all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eric Armstead. Yeah, he's really good. He does a lot. He's from SAC, and he does a
Yes, sir.
lot of stuff in the community when he was with 49ers. I mean, he's always doing something, so that's no surprise there.
No.
Yep.
And then we'll talk Hall of Fame, guys that are getting this year, and then we'll talk guys who are in their first year of eligibility and who we think should get in. We could do that next week.
Yeah, it's all good.
So cool. Well, that's where we're at, man. It's pretty much all football. Luka's first game with the Lakers was today as well. I think the Lakers were
Still
smoking the
going on.
Jazz. No surprise there. We'll see what happens there. We're at our last few of the day for Super Bowl and the Super Bowl recap. Hogwash, game ball, and a minute to win it. Sound like Brian, you already had the hogwash ready and teed up.
Yeah, well, my
Hey, get your
hogwash goes
hogwash.
out to all of these reporters. Here's the thing. Here's the reason why I'm calling it the hogwash. It's not that they made a decision and I don't like their decision. That happens all the time. It's that they couldn't come up with simple arguments or conversational points as to why they did it. Because people were obviously going to question them. They had plenty of time to know those questions were coming, especially when there started being a storm. And not a single one of them could give a good answer when they were putting Lamar as the offensive player of the year, but not the MVP. But anyways, hogwash. Moving on.
My hogwash goes out to the worst commissioner in professional sports history, Adam Silver. I sent you guys that I don't know what you want to call it, gift meme, whatever you want to call it, about Joel Embiid, how he missed his 400th game and has made $125,695,000 of his total earnings while sitting on the bench. And all this started in Adam Silver, pretty much to me, is known for load management and for players wanting to just, use any reason in the world, an excuse just to leave and get out. That's his tenure in the NBA. So he's my hogwash. Players like Zion and him, Embiid, just sitting down, collecting checks, not playing. And
Crazy.
he wonders why people is turned off by his NBA. This is why. It's crazy. 125 million on the bench.
Just because it's fun and people like it, I completely disagree with you on that, Jason.
No, you love Adam Silver.
Just because it's fun
that
and
is not
people like it.
Silver's fault.
It's all good.
That's the players signing a great collective bargaining deal.
Yeah, good for them. I can't mess with it. So for me, it's kind of like I mentioned earlier. I'll just go with the idea of halftime show outrage and selective outrage in general. If you don't like the show, don't like the show. Coop laid down, that's fine, bro. It doesn't matter. But do I need to speak bad? I don't know if you guys remember when Maroon 5 and Justin Timberlake and Lady Gaga and Coldplay and Katy
Guarantee
Perry
I
and Lenny
watched
Kravitz and Madonna and The Who and Bruce Springsteen and Tom Petty all performed at the Super Bowl. Great. I know there's a lot of us that watch, so the artists are going to vary. Right now, Jay-Z has been a part of it for some years, so you're probably going to have some hip hop and urban influences to that degree. Fine, cool. I've appreciated it. I liked it, but every Super Bowl halftime is not for you. It's not. Just sit down somewhere and eat your chips. How about that?
Yeah.
Let's carry on to the next year.
Yeah,
So,
if it's somebody they like, they don't say nothing. Somebody they don't understand or whatever, or don't know of, whatever. It's terrible.
I mean,
Like,
I like a couple Tom Petty songs, but did I need a halftime?
Yeah, well, I
Come on,
mean,
man.
when Bruno Mars performed, I never knew who Bruno Mars was. I thought that was a failed NASA mission. I told you guys that. Then I
And
saw him
Bruno's-
perform, and I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty good. I mean,
Bruno's massive.
I gave it a chance. You know what I'm saying? Dude was
Yeah,
pretty
just
good.
carry on, bro.
You
It's
know?
not Madonna at the Super Bowl. Great.
What
You
name of the
know,
world?
No, at least it
I'm
wasn't.
not gonna be out here
Salt.
hating. Oh,
Yeah.
this guy.
So,
I wish they would. I wish they would. Oh man, I'm dressed in like the 80s and I'm running man all through your crib.
it's supposed to be at Levi Stadium next year. Maybe they'll have E40
Yes, sir.
perform. Maybe they might get him through there.
Man,
I doubt it.
he'll be involved, but he ain't gonna be the halftime show.
You ain't lying. You
There's
definitely
no
gonna be the
chance.
headliner. Yeah.
Game balls. Who y'all got?
Go B. Who you got?
I'm gonna give it to Saquon Barkley. I mean, it's just great to see him win. He had a huge influence in the game, even though he didn't have a ton of yards. He ran hard, and it was good to see the old running back who I've been running backs that I've been touting all season long get the big victory and be the big storyline.
Mine is going to be to the Philadelphia defensive line, especially. Never seen. I just never seen the entire Kansas City offense. I've seen Mahomes, get rushed against Tampa Bay, whatever, bad game, but this was the entire offense. It's false starts, it's holding, it's discombobulated, it's frustration on the sideline. I've never seen that, and that's a credit to the Philadelphia defensive line. They caused all of that frustration for the Kansas City Chiefs. Never seen it. It was fun to see. So that they get my game ball, man. They play it lights out.
I've seen it. We play against them a lot. I've seen it. We just don't always win the game. Yeah, I'm with y'all, man. Just the Philadelphia Eagles in general, man. The offensive line, the defensive line, the receivers, the court. I mean, everybody. Like, just they put together a heck of a roster. I do find it interesting that "Blow the Whistle" became the theme song for Philly. But whatever. It's cool. It's the most popular. I think Brian made this comment. It's like one of the most popular hip hop dance songs probably ever.
Yeah.
At this point, he's right, and it was just funny to see. But shout out to the Eagles, man. That team they put together is crazy. The draft. I mean, all those rookies that showed up huge all year, and then right at the big game, free agent players that came up big. Like they just, like you said, it was lightning in a bottle. They did it. So
They only made
down
a
the
couple
Chiefs.
mistakes in the game too. They didn't make a lot of mistakes.
bro, they were cooking.
They were pretty flawless almost. Yeah.
Quietly, they played pretty damn good the other Super Bowl too. But
They
Jalen
did.
Hurts was playing good too.
Yeah,
They lost by 3, I think.
Defense let
So
them down. They left by 4. Defense let them
4,
down. But yeah, Jalen played really well in that game. Really
Yeah.
well.
yeah. So
Still
shout
best
out
game
to
I've ever
them.
seen him play.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
shout out to them. And then the last of it, man, to win it. I'm just thankful for everybody for listening. And as always, man, I don't have anything else specific.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm gonna
B,
keep it short too. Yeah. I'm gonna thank everybody for listening as well. And let B close it.
you got it.
Eyes open, everyone. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, so much is going on right now. I couldn't go through all of it if I wanted to. John Oliver's got a new show, I think either it was yesterday or next week, where he's got to go and catch everybody up. So watch that. But one thing that's going on that is absolutely insanity is this whole thing with Elon Musk. And so today, I don't know if people noticed or even paid attention, but he made a almost $96 billion offer to buy the parent company of ChatGPT. This is right after he installed a whole bunch of people from his Doja coin, a cryptocurrency in the federal government, and almost immediately people's social security numbers and other personal identifiable information start up in the dark web. If he gets into the next thing, which is ChatGPT and all of the metadata they're keeping there, you will not have any level of privacy of any kind. Your information will be easily bought and paid for pennies on the dark net. Keep your eyes open because it's about to get real crazy. And as somebody who studied and has a master's in cybersecurity, we are at a penultimate moment in crisis because of what he is willing to do with that information. And he does not care. I mean, he is dirty as a $3 bill.
Yeah. Sports Counterpoints podcast, February 10th,
Real
2025.
talk.
We'll see y'all next week, we hope. Peace.